Well, good morning, and hope you're well. We're in a different situation here. We got kicked out of the sanctuary. That was inevitable, I imagine. But anyway, I would like to just keep talking about music and faith now. I believe that the thing you get from God to walk you through life, the thing that where your hands are joined, that's the thing He's given you. And in that, you should be able then to define faith in your life and learn from that thing how do you take that to the world. And I was thinking then about in music is of course practice. And so what I've learned is that when it comes to kids, I like to start right away with what is practice, And so in the beginning of the lesson, especially if it's a young child now, I'll ask them, what is my name? And I'll say, my name's Al. What's my name? And they'll say, Al. And I'll say, what's your name? And they'll say, whatever the name is. And I'll say it back. And then maybe 15 minutes into the lesson, I'll just stop and I'll say, what's my name? And maybe they'll remember it, but maybe they won't. And then I'll throw in my last name. And then we'll do that a couple times through the lesson. I'll just stop and say, what was my name? And they don't remember. And I just use that. I said, isn't that so terrific? I said, that's how we learn, and that's why we practice. I said, now, if you say my name, you're going to remember it more than if you just hear it. And if you were to write it down, which isn't required, you'd remember it even more. And so that's what practice is how we take knowledge and incorporate it into skill, something that we can take and use almost wherever we think we should. It becomes part of your creativity. The more things you know how to use, the more you have skill, the more creative you can be, and I think the more you're going to enjoy your walk with God by being creative, whatever those things are. And so that I teach, that's practice. And then they get that. I said, you'll go home and learn the song, and you might do great, you might really not. I said, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we'll just keep at it. And we're trying, of course, to learn specific things in practice. So that's good. And I try to instill in the parents, it's not a punishment, They can't go and play for an hour at the piano, like, do it again. I said, well, it's just not that interesting. And so what matters is that they're cultivating the habit of sitting down and doing it, even if it's for a short period of time. It's the habit that's so important, and it's a good habit. And then you take that to other things in your life, which, of course, is my real goal. God just gave me music as a way of sharing, I think, this thing that I learned, where I held His hand in music. And then I was thinking, okay, what about me? And I think, well, isn't this the essence of faith? Is one thing to say, I believe in God, or, of course there's a God, but is that really a skill now? Because of God, I do this or I won't do that. Or is it's just knowledge, it hasn't become working knowledge. And I think, well, that's what practice is. That I know James talks about that. You have to have faith, and your faith should have works to prove that you have faith. And it's to prove it to yourself so that you can become confident that I am rooted in God. I'm not rooted in me. And I can look to the things I do. And then, of course, I can find that in nature, like I'm always amazed at trees. And, they grow and you say, it must be so nice to be a tree. It must be tough to be a tree because sometimes you get rain, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get buried in snow or the wind howls almost always out here, right? And really, that's what's making the tree so strong. Is all those different things, and the tree doesn't change. It says, I am simply me, but God gives it what it needs to become strong. And don't we admire a tree? But I really like, when I'm hiking, to find the gnarled tree, the one that's kind of bent or misshapen, and is still alive, and is beautiful. And I think, that tree's got such character, and I think there's something that's really got faith. And so I think then when you discover that you believe in God, then you have to start practicing it. I can remember And again, I can only use my own experiences reading in the Bible, this, that, or the other thing. And then when something goes wrong, you fall apart. You say, oh my gosh, something went wrong. And you say, where are you, God? I'm praying, where are you? I need you, And then it's resolved. And then you're back, oh, I believe in God. And then something goes wrong. Where are you, God? But then eventually, you're growing, right? Those are the winds and the snow and all of that. And he's saying, what's my name? And I'm repeating back to him when I'm realizing, oh, you're my protection, you're my shelter. You're only doing this to prove to me that I believe in you, which is so essential, because that's the only way my good works can have any value. I love the song, if you love the world but you don't have, or if you do all the good works you don't have God, it's an empty gong. If you don't have God motivating you to do all the things you're doing, then those things don't matter. Which is, it's kind of sad, because sometimes I get sad because I look at the world and you see, people wanting to do this great thing and that great thing. And nowhere in maybe, the announcement of this great project do they say, this is with God's grace. If you don't acknowledge first that I want to do this because this is what God taught me to do, and I know that because now I'm steeped in God, I've grown in Him. To me, that makes it very sad. And I talked once about how the world, I see it like a quilt, and all the pieces were joined together. All the thread was God. And little by little, we remove the thread. And we think the quilt is going to stay together. And it's not. It's going to fall apart, or it's going to get over. It's not going to be knit together. It's no longer grown in faith. It's not enduring the storms. Now it's being eroded by it. So we have to have God through everything. And that only comes from practice. So you practice your faith by doing things. And I say, like, well, I'm doing this, and I make sure, because I'm not doing this because it's, I'm glad maybe it's the right thing to do, but I'm doing it because I want to grow. I'm practicing. I want to do things for God because I'm so grateful that all the things that I did, He has forgiven. And to me, I would love to see the world just like that. You drive down any street and you see signs, come here, do this, this is that, and just almost nowhere do you see, because God cares, and it's like, is that thread? So we have to be that, and you can see it anywhere. A little rambling, I guess, but anyway, and that's the point, of course, of practice, so that you become what God intended you to be, and He's still holding on to you, and you know in yourself that, yes, I am what God wants me to be. The thing that's so important about that is then you become resilient, and you become steadfast, and you become hopefully dependable or reliable to other people. I know people always say, change, change, change. If you don't like change, you better leave. The truth of the matter is, God is not change. He's steadfast, and He will grow you so that you can not fear change. Because yes, things will come and things will go. The trees, right? The snow, is still the same tree. And isn't that what you admire? Is that tree is still there after this crummy thing happened, or after that, or whatever it is. It's that it remained unchanged. And if you're in God, then you're going to be okay, because there's always going to be changes, but we don't change, right? If you're steeped in God, we just stay resilient, like it's a green tree, or full of sap. You're bearing fruit, you're providing shelter for someone. It's just unending, the things you do, as long as you practice. So practice, it's a very good thing. And it's easy to do, but mostly it's a habit. And little things you really want to create the habit of each day. Maybe I want to do something because I personally need to say thank you to God. Whatever it is, then that's beautiful, and it grows. Thanks. So my favorite song, when I think about God, faith, and the world, and when I look in the world, everything you look at is a little piece of God. everything that's living is a little piece of God. And I think eventually that's all going to be, what a picture that's going to be when we're all together in heaven. And so I'll just play my favorite song then, I think. And you'll know it, I hope. Louis Armstrong. Wonderful world with God. Thanks. Have a great week.